Welcome to Math for Lesson 148. This is the introduction to geometry, so it's pages 267 and 268. And this should be Thursday for you if you're on track, unless you're ahead, which is great too. But you also have a speed drill, lesson 148 speed drill. There's 5 minutes for that. So we're going to go over a couple things and then I'm going to let you take that. So first of all, we're going to review our Roman numerals, okay? So up here we've got M, C, 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 X, X, I, V, okay? So what does the M stand for? 1,000, good, okay? 1,000. Now we don't just write zeros, remember, we've got more letters, so we've got to hold off on writing zeros till we know what our next number is going to be, okay? So then C is what? 300, okay? So 1,300. XX is 20, and then IV is 4, okay? 1 before 5. That's how you would read that. All right, so here we've got L, V, I, okay? So L is what? 50, okay? Again, don't write your next number till you know what you got here. So 5, V is 5, and then 6, 7, 8, okay? 58, okay? And down here we got M, V, I, okay? So we got 3 M's. What does that make? 3,000, okay? Good job. And then VI is what? It's 6, okay? So can we just put the 6 here and not do anything in between? No, because that would look like 600, right? So we're going to have to go 0, 0, and then put our 6, okay? So in that case, we didn't have any hundreds place and we didn't have any tens place in our numbers, okay? Over down here, we got CC, LXX, V. CC is 200, right? And then we've got 50, but we've got 60 and 70, right? So don't forget to check for that. And then V is 5, 275. Down here, the last one, XLIV. XL, what's that? It's 10 before L, which is 40, right? And then 1 before V, 4, okay, 44. Very good. All right, so that's our Roman numerals. We're going to go through a couple of our flashcards, and then I'm going to let you take your speed drill, okay? So 6 times 11, 66. 7 times 6, 42. 3 times 7, 21. 6 times 9, 54. 9 times 12, 108. 5 times 5, 25. 5 times 10, 50. 12 times 6, 72. 7 times 4, 28. We're back to the beginning, 66. All right, very good. Go ahead and pause and take your speed drill, and we'll come back. We'll get right into our lesson. All right, so in our line graph, I'm going to put this up here. And when we talk about a line graph, a little bit more, when we have here, it's on 5 and 5, right? What is this called? Does anybody know? It's a point, okay? So a point is just a dot, one dot on the grid, okay? A point can be a dot placed anywhere. This point could sit in between lines. It doesn't have to be on the line, okay? That's kind of hard to comprehend, but it's any point. There's hundreds of points all over this. It could sit over there because even though this is our graph extends and it goes farther. So a point is a single dot. And so we've got that on our geometry. It means to measure the earth. And so our point It's just a single dot, okay? Now, we've got a line segment, okay? A line segment. I'm gonna put that back up there to make sure that doesn't fall. A line segment is a line that has a dot on both sides. And that is, it has a beginning point and an ending point. A line never ends, okay? It never ends. It goes on and on forever in both directions, okay? So that's a line. It does not have a beginning or an ending point. So the line segment is just a part of a line. That's why we call it a line segment, okay? A ray has a beginning point, but does not have an ending point. It's got an arrow showing that it extends and it goes on and on, okay? Intersecting lines, these are probably the easiest ones for you guys to recognize because they intersect, right? And it can intersect like this. It could intersect like that. It could intersect like this. It doesn't have to be a straight, or it doesn't have to look like that, but it is going to have arrows on each of them to show that they extend, okay? So intersecting lines can look like any of those. And then we've got parallel lines, okay? I'll put that back up there. Parallel lines are lines that never intersect, okay? They run alongside each other, kind of like an equal sign. You see that, okay? And they have the arrows to show that they go on and on in both directions, but they're never going to intersect. They're parallel. If they're going to intersect, we don't call them parallel. Even if they're not quite, if they look like this, you've got one that's going like that and one that's kind of going like this. They haven't intersected yet, right? But will they? Yeah, they will. So they're not parallel lines because they're not perfectly straight with each other, okay? An angle is two rays that share a common endpoint, okay? So you can see that on your page or right here. A right angle are angles with a square corner, okay? So they intersect right like that, okay? And congruent angles they contain the same number of degrees. And we're not going to be looking too far into congruent yet, but we will, the degrees of the angles, but you just need to know that they have the same, they're the same size basically, okay? Lines that intersect cross each other at some point. Perpendicular lines are lines that form right angles when they intersect, so like this. Kind of like a compass. Simply closed shape or a simply closed figure is it's not a particular, it's not one of it's not a square or a triangle. Now it could be, but it just has to be closed on all sides. Then a polygon is one that is a many-sided figure, and we have specific names for polygons, different polygons. The simple closed shape could be a circle, but it's not a polygon because it doesn't have sides, okay? So that's the difference in those. We're going to be looking farther into this geometry. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to label all of these. Now they're all in the box at the top, so all you got to do is find it, but try to see if you can remember what they're called, okay? And then there's a true and false. And so you're just going to write true or false, and you're going to so do both of the sections on this page and then turn it over, and I'm going to have you do, oh, those were simple, very simple. So In section 3, I'm going to have you do all of those just for extra practice. You can, but then for the review, for sections 4, you can pick one of the story problems to do. Section 5, do all but C, the green, so do A and B. And then section D, you may pick one of them. And then section 7 and 8, pick 3 in each section, okay? So that's what I'm gonna have you do for this page. We are to, and this is towards the end of the week, but we are to where there should be just one lesson a day scheduled. So you shouldn't have too much trouble getting most of this done. But if you do need extra practice on something, you can always do those extra problems, and you can get more familiar with some of these things. So tomorrow we'll be looking more at the geometrical shapes. So those would be these. And so you can be getting prepared for that. But so geometry is talking about shapes and lines and measuring the earth is what that means. And so finish the page. Don't forget that if you haven't taken your speed drill, go ahead and do that. And we will talk with you next time.